All right. We did it. Awestruck Comics Podcast. We're doing the news. 11/17, Sunday, almost Halloween, post Halloween, almost.
Halloween, almost Thanksgiving.
And I got Christmas stuff up. I'm skipping it. Skipping it.
Don't skip it.
Right to Christmas.
I always had this thing about I don't know why I'm doing this. I feel like Christmas should be the last Friday of December. Like the heck with December 25th. It's a made-up date. This way, Christmas is always a 3-day weekend. And if you have Christmas Eve off, you get a 4-day weekend. It just makes so much more sense.
Yeah, it's always a strategic, like what do I take off from work thing? Or I would rather work than be over here, be over there. So I always kind of re-strategize it,
What do we have?
Strategize it.
I have a Wednesday off this year. It's like, hey, happy Wednesday. Come back to work Thursday.
Right, come back to work Thursday, Friday. Oh, we need you Saturday.
And by the way, Tuesday, you'll probably be out late because people want their Christmas packages.
Right.
So enjoy your 24 hours off.
You're going to ruin Christmas, Rob. You're going to ruin someone's Christmas. Way to go.
You're right. Well,
way to go.
I see this one woman on the news.
Do you have people yell at you? Do you have people throw stuff at you?
No, because they're usually so happy to see us. But this one old woman on the news, she's like, UPS ruined my grandson's Christmas. Her grandson was like 2, so he doesn't even know what Christmas is.
Yeah.
And she ordered it like 2 days before. It's like, guess what, old woman? Like, maybe don't order something December 22nd or 23rd.
Yeah.
What happened was our planes got filled by Amazon. And Amazon said, oh, we're going to give you 10,000. And then they give us 30,000. And we're like, okay, I guess we're to blame here now.
Yeah.
We planned for what you said.
Right. But Amazon
people don't care about it.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. I don't think people understand that is that Amazon basically, if they're overloaded, even though they have drivers, even though they have their own trucks, even though they have their own just people picking stuff up with Amazon Flex or whatever the heck it's called.
Right.
If they're overloaded, they just give UPS stuff and then
they're already giving us. We deliver so much of their stuff. And then they're like, oh, we can't handle. So here's more. Oh, we can't handle more. Here's more. It's like, all right. And we'll do it.
That's intense.
But except for that one old woman on the news.
Christmas.
We ruined her 2-year-old's Christmas.
Yeah. So, but Christmas is coming. Very exciting. I need to figure out I'm going to buy. I think I'm going to buy myself that Just Go hardcover. That is not. It was a Kickstarter, and then now there's like one website selling for like $59. I should get that kind of now-ish.
Is it all the Marvel Masterpiece Series 1?
It is. There was a book that was a couple years ago IDW put out, and then there was a book that he kickstarted last year, which had a bunch of stuff, and that hit. And then there was some other smaller publisher, like Lightspeed Press. I think it's who it's like a small publisher, and it just kind of came out 2 weeks ago. I think it's $80, and then a couple websites I found it for $59, but it's not really around.
I hope they have his cards from Series 2 in it. And do you remember his Creator Universe card? He had a character in the Creator Universe card series called I think it was called Warhorse. There's a big, and it just looked like it fit in with his Marvel card series.
I wonder. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think it has. I'm not exactly sure how it's laid out. I'm not really sure. Yeah. So, but
that's interesting because I think the original Marvel Masterpiece card series came out in November of '92. I think I was a junior because they had them in our school library, and I'm like, what are these doing here? This seems cheaper than my comic store. I just bought them all.
Yeah, I saw him last weekend at a con. I think he had it for, it was 85 for the whole set. And I'm just like, I don't know. And then he had one that was 50, but didn't look like it was large enough to be the whole set. So I don't know if I believe it. Was it Tim?
They went up in value during the pandemic.
Yeah.
They went up, and all the special cards went up too. All the foil embossed versus cards. Well,
he's got a new series that I forget, is Upper Deck putting it out, and they're all large. They're all like not even actual size, but they're all larger. And I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know.
I can't take the name Upper Deck seriously anymore. Like once I discovered what an upper decker was, I'm like, that's. And you know the McFarlane.
That's what I was about to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, is that why would you want to sit in the upper deck when you can sit in the front row?
Front row. He wanted. That was like what Todd Toys.
Todd McFarlane was going to have a card company prior to doing Spawn, and he went after all the hockey, NHL, and they turned him down. But he had a bunch of cards. He had paid photographers for pictures because you got to license those pictures, and he drew a bunch of caricatures. But like at the end of the day, do you want to see Todd McFarlane caricatures, or do you want to see Todd McFarlane draw seriously? So that's what won. That's why we got Spawn. His card series didn't work out. We got Spawn. So we win, I guess.
I don't know. But then I did Todd Toys, and now I have all very. There's something almost ugly with all his DC toys. I don't know what it is. I'm not exactly sure. Like, I don't think any of them are like. I was looking at a Frank Quietly Batman that was in Walmart. I was looking at it. I was like, I don't like this. I understand it looks like what it looks like. It looks like like a Frank Quietly Batman, but there's something a little extra in it that I think all of them. I don't want any of them. I only own like two.
I don't own any of his DC. I try to.
I own three.
I don't want to buy a lot of stuff. I try not to buy a lot of stuff, despite that I do. So I really try to make up a stupid rule, like, oh, I'll buy Frank Quitely Ultraman if McFarlane decides to do the Frank Quitely Earth 2 DC Crime Syndicate series. Like that would be like my weird rule. I just make up stupid rules. I don't have any pops, but our friend Brian has all the pops, and he's like, "Why don't you buy a couple?" I'm like, "All right, sure." They do Amalgam Spider Boy. I'll buy that pop. Guess what, Mark? They're not going to do Amalgam Spider Boy.
Right, they can't. Well, I guess you can get a custom. I guess it's probably something that someone did a custom.
Shut your whore mouth.
No customs where it's at. So but let's dive into the news. So this is actually kind of it's funny. I was ASM this week had kind of the beginning and it has Doom and a Doctor Strange Doom,
right?
Whatever it is. So it didn't say the frequency, but in February you have a 9-issue miniseries, Ryan North and RB Silva, which is good because I think RB Silva was like he was the beat artist to Pepe Larraz, but
correct.
In some ways he was as good during the House of X, Powers of 10.
Powers 10, yeah. Did you know Ryan North? You know what he's famous from?
I kind of it's in my head, but I don't
it's
remember.
Like this webcomic, this Dinosaurs webcomic, which I remember reading, but it's always the same panels. But he's done it for like 20 years. 20 years of these dinosaur webcomics.
Dinosaur, the old TV show Dinosaurs?
Or no, it's just like it's like he bought a CD and had like artwork in it of like, it's not good artwork. It's just the same little shitty dinosaurs. And they're always saying something funny or crazy. And I've read a bunch of them. But like knowing that, and I read it before I knew who he was. And I listened to an interview with him. He's like, oh yeah, I did this comic strip. And I'm like, oh, that's you?
Wow. I know that I saw him.
Clip art. It's just dinosaur clip art. It's not even like particularly good.
Is it just a web? I don't know. I guess I just look it up. It's probably just.
I'm sure he's published books.
Probably still there. I like this run of, and I didn't like the first couple issues of FF, so I understand. I know Pete Hagen wrote to me about that a while ago. He's like, this is the best book month to month, and blah blah blah. And I was like, I couldn't get through. I didn't like it. I just don't like number one being like. I think number one was just a thing issue, and I'm like, yes, you can do this in issue 4. You can do a 3-issue like intro run, and then but to me that's like the rules. If it's a number one, certain like number one rules, right? Called Fantastic Four. He just did like a thing like Elseworld story in the first issue, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
It's a weird way to start the series.
Yeah,
for sure.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
But he is a good writer. The characterization is good. The people interactions is good. It's not big. It's rarely ever a big story, but they're really interesting stories. He seems like he's good at like sci-fi short stories. Almost like here's FF kind of Twilight Zone-ish stuff that happens every month. Yeah. It's not bad. It doesn't really feel like Fantastic Four. It feels like a family book. They're definitely a family, but it doesn't feel like Fantastic Four.
Well, it's funny, like what you complain about is like you have all these runs that you think of when you think of Fantastic Four, and I'm like, well, that doesn't feel like every once in a while you'll have like a family thingy in it, but not, it's more just like an action team. They're barely like the Fantastic Four in it. So, and now this is more of a family, and you're like, I don't know, but it's not like I don't like it. I don't like it's very family, but it's not Fantastic Four, so I don't know.
But I keep reading it. I keep reading it because I love the Fantastic Four.
I feel like they're just chasing the big bad. Like I feel like I don't know. I feel like the MCU, the movies like ruin the big bad. So now we have to have this Blood Hunt. You did which was fine. Blood Hunt wasn't. It was fine. It was fine.
Was the big movie at any point going to come out during Blood Hunt?
I
Like
don't
when they
know.
first thought of Blood Hunt, we're like, all right, we'll do it. We'll plan it a year in advance, and the movie's supposed to be out.
And then Blade will be out, and then Blade is not happening, and Blade may or may not happen. It's off
Yeah,
of
stop,
slate now. So
stop trying to make Blade happen. And I love Mahershala Ali. Like, he's such good casting for that role. But man,
well,
giving us Wesley Snipes was like a cock tease too much. It's like giving us that John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic. It's like he's so perfect, but we're not going to use him.
nah, we're gonna spaghetti him.
Here's Wesley Snipes, but you're not going to use, you know.
Yeah, the spaghetti. It's so funny, like the stuff that's bleeding back over. Because in Amazing this week, they did a spaghetti death. They did like
Yeah,
a
they did.
spaghetti explode death, which we'll get into. But like, I don't know. I mean, it's we'll see. I mean, to me, like the Ryan North really impressed me when he took over for Chip Zdarsky after Zdarsky did Jughead. Jughead was pretty good. That was the Mark Waid. That was like kind
Yes,
of the reboot. But
that
the
Wade
Ryan
era.
North back end was better. The which Derek Charm drew, so that was better. And then I want to say both those guys did some. I'm trying to think who did the IDW like Star Wars like young features, the like hyperspace tales or whatever. They did some here and there that were really good, that were excellent. They did. I want to say they did one with who's Zaxxon, the space bunny, Zaxxon,
Oh, Jackson.
Jackson,
Which
Michael Jackson.
you think Michael Golden did Bucky O'Hare on purpose to look like Jackson?
I don't know. I would ask him, but he's not nice.
He would
You know,
probably charge you
he
for
was.
that question.
I just told DeLuca that story. I was like, it's just it was very strange, and we may have talked about it. And I don't want to bag on creators. I mean, I love Michael Golden. I have a
No,
lot of
no,
Michael
they
Golden.
deserve to get paid. I don't mind paying for a signature. I really don't.
I just
They're
find it,
there. They paid to get there, flight, hotel. This is their
yeah,
work. Their signature does add value. Do I want to pay it? Of course not. We're poor brokies, but like I understand why and I respect it.
yeah, sure. I don't
But
understand the like.
have a set price.
So
Your
yeah, it
signature is
was
worth
like it was
X.
my Bucky O'Hare second appearance. What did he charge me? $10. That was a
Oh,
ten
yeah, no.
dollars 20.
Was it
It's still
20?
dumb. Like, but and then he had bad prints. I was like, yeah, I'd buy some prints that you have over here. He had some GI Joe prints, but they were made at like Kinko's or whatever or Staples an hour before the con. Like they were all like, I don't know.
They weren't
None of
good.
it worked. They
They
didn't
were
look
like,
good.
here's a picture. It's like he Googled the image and then sent it to him
Right.
instead of
And
like
then
having
they make five of
something.
them. They were like $12 each, two for 20. And I'm like, no, like I can do it. I can do it myself. But yeah, it was like it was going to be 30 for the Star Wars one that I had, like the Star Wars issue. He's
Oh, it
like
was like
30.
40 because
Yeah,
it was
I'm
rated
not selling it. I'm not selling it. But see, on the other end, I believe, yeah, Liam Sharp, I think it would have been $10 for three signatures. But I bought so much stuff, and then I asked him. This was really a big thing. I said, "Can you?" I bought these hardcovers, art books for him, and I said, "Can you write it to me, MARC?" And then he wrote it. C as in Charlie, as I always say,
right.
um, as if someone's, Well, I do it when I order Chick-fil-A, like they're gonna mix it up.
Yeah,
You know
like
what I
if
mean?
just in case there's a slew of marks coming
If
through.
there's another guy in a SUV, that's going to be Mark with a K, but
The
but then
masculine form of mark.
because he right because he I said to me he drew sketches in it, like I mean, he didn't have to do any of that, but because he knows it was for me, and then he discounted it further.
Yeah.
So I mean, like there's something to know that like I'm not reselling this Star Wars book, you know what I mean? Or I'm like trying to have a conversation with him. He didn't want to have a conversation, so it was just like,
That's part of the reason
okay,
you want to pay for a signature to have that moment to talk to him, to connect with him, to tell him why this book's important, or maybe
yeah,
ask a crazy fan question. There's so much to be learned from him. Half the Image guys took something from him for their
yeah,
style.
right,
Like
right.
and he's an artist that didn't work enough, but yet I feel like he wanted to work.
Uh,
Very strange.
if you can watch, there's like it's like a 6 hour, three-part jerk comic like documentary. I don't think he was Jim Shooter didn't get along with him, but after I met him, I'm like, "All right, maybe Jim Shooter's right. I don't know. Like Jim Shooter's kind of like he's kind of abrasive, but
I think
he
Jim
would
Shooter's
use you,
a
you
super
know.
straightforward guy.
Right.
Like the times I've talked to him, he's great to talk to. Like I
Mhm.
love, like I've met him at a couple of conventions.
Yeah,
He
I've
wants to
seen a
talk
lot
to
of
you.
videos of him.
Yes,
There's one that's like a 4 or 5 hour interview.
and it's great.
Yeah.
It is I'm like, this is so interesting. He's talking about dying. He's talking about the guys who created Mad Balls was going to do toys for the Warriors of Plasm. And I'm like, what? Like I
Yeah.
love I love that stupid information.
Oh, there's a documentary I almost sent to you. There is a Overstreet documentary from '99, I think. Did you ever see it? It's like an hour and a half long. I just found it somewhere. I'll see if I'll find it and send it to you. But it has video clips of Shooter talking about licensing Warrior Plasm. It's got clips of the McFarlane Peter David debate. McFarlane's like naked,
Yeah, yeah,
like
comes out box or whatever.
yeah. So, but there's that's a pretty good. Seeing those old docs are pretty interesting. Kirby's talking about stuff. I've seen some of the Kirby clips from that documentary, but I've never seen the whole thing. So pretty solid, and just even having kids talk about why they like certain things. It's just like, I wonder if any of those kids are like, it doesn't name them, it'd be kind of neat though. One of them is
Right,
like
right. Little Scott
Josh
Snyder.
Williamson. Yeah, it's like Josh Williams, you know what I
We
mean?
both
Like,
went with a DC writer.
right. Well, both guys that are relevant and will come up later in the review section, on the reviews day section. So we'll see. I don't know what this is about, and I guess it's coming out of that, but this kind of goes into the next story, is that Weapon X-Men.
We didn't even finish the story. What's the story
No,
about, Mark?
I don't
Ryan
even know.
North is doing a
He's
Doctor
doing
Doom.
One Nation Under Doom, 1 of 9, but it didn't say, the solicit doesn't say the frequency. 9, they're not doing 9 months. They're doing 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So it's not clear.
It'll be quicker because everything at that's got to be wrapped up before the movie comes out in July.
Right. So it's
It's only
February.
2 weeks after Superman. Kind of wish those would have a little bit more, I don't know, more breathing room for Superman. But
Well, I wonder if it's going to be like if it's going to feel counter programming. I mean, it could be this week. Uh,
and I think the new Jurassic World movie comes out on the same day as like FF or something.
Speed Racer came out 2 weeks before Iron Man or 2 weeks after Iron Man, something like that. And it just like
Not good.
no, it didn't
Not,
can't just cancel
not
each other
good.
out. But under this One Nation Under Doom, I guess they're doing like, I don't know if it's too many concepts. It's like Doom's a concept, but then now he's going to have like the Doctor Strange powers, Doctor Strange in the astral form. I don't know if it's going to have too much stuff.
It's kind of weird because it's like they're writing Doctor Doom as though he didn't learn a lesson from having the Beyonders powers. Like we just
Yeah,
end the
it's
story,
it's too long ago. They won't. It's not. Yeah, it's
and then he becomes a superhero after that. Like then it's like,
right,
oh, let's make Doom the new Iron Man, which Doom would never be Iron Man. He'd
right.
be good Doom.
Right.
Phenomenal. What if? What if Doom had become a superhero? Great. Great. What if?
That was a real what if? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like that.
Hmm.
He's like on the cover in a car, people in a parade, flowers are all over the place, and Doom's like,
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if I care about it, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I guess.
listen, I will definitely read it.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
Am I jazzed about it? I don't know. It doesn't move the needle.
But
It
like,
doesn't
I
move the needle.
also is also very confused at this next announcement because again, and this is coming out. They said this is coming out as part of the One Nation Under the Doom, which it doesn't sound like. You know, I can't tell if it's not like an Age of Apocalypse situation, but that Weapon X-Men series was announced. Doesn't say if it's ongoing, double size first issue, but it does have an Alex Ross cover. Alex Ross doing his Liefeld style, which is really fantastic, which we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Which is so much fun. Alex Ross, he may not love Liefeld, but he's so interested in Liefeld. Like like they almost did that Supreme book together, but like, so he did a bunch of paintings of Supreme, and then he did that X Force collection cover or the X Force for Marvels, right? That Marvels,
Yeah,
cover.
right. Yeah, the Marvels Buziak
literally
book.
looked like he painted a Liefeld drawing, and he didn't. He just drew that and drew it like Liefeld. And this X Men cover looks the same. It looks like Wolverine's in like a weird pose. It just looks really, really fun. Like Wolverine looks like a
Yeah,
Liefeld.
the cable looks perfect, but I do think it's weird that when all the From the Ashes stuff was coming out, first off, it was all like, here's a bunch of women books. There's like a Magic series, Psylocke series, Phoenix series, and then they're
Dazzler.
like, but then no
Yeah.
cable, no cable. We're putting cable on much moratorium, like what, for 4 months? Because he's out like in a new cable mini,
Got a new cable mini.
and then this.
He's in the Time Slide one shot, which
Right.
they repurposed old Liefeld artwork for a cover, which is neat.
Oh, I don't know if I saw that. I have to see that. I don't remember if I saw that.
If we could show images, I would show it to you.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it soon. It's in processing. In processing. But yeah, so it's Cable, Deadpool, Chamber, Warpath, and Warpath is just the younger brother, same powers.
Warpath is the
Basically.
younger brother to Thunderbird, but I think he's more powerful. I think he's strong. Well, Thunderbird died before he could be fully realized.
Hmm.
You know, but Warpath, I remember in the Cable files, he's like, I could see he's like young, but already he's almost as strong as like Colossus, which is Colossus is like according to Marvel Universe, an 80-ton lifter. Colossus is 80 tons, Thing's 80 tons. So that was God, it's just so funny how that stuff sticks with your head.
That's the theme. Right, right. Yeah, the strength and all the cards. I always remember the Panini card. Was it Panini or who was it? Impel? Right.
Impel.
Yeah, the original Impel cards. I was like very on. That I knew a ton about. But we'll see. I mean, again, that looked more interesting than most of the From the Ashes stuff. From the Ashes stuff has been okay, in my opinion. It's been okay.
Yeah, there's stuff that jumps out, and we'll dig into that a little bit in the reviews day.
Yeah. Yeah, so they announced the Marvel Fanfare Omnibus, which looks really fun. This is also, I still think it's overpriced. It's on 1 through 19, $100, 700 pages. So like
that's $5 an issue. More than $5
you can
an
get
issue.
1 to 19. You can get that for $19. You can pretty much find all of them. You can find. And that's what I think. Even like I feel like the Romnibuses should have been 2, not 3. Micronauts should have been maybe 2, and then don't do the third one. But it's fine. I think it's nice that they're doing like New Voyages, which is kind of bad. But at least you have good Kelly Jones artwork in that, and they're not easy to find. I just rebought it.
Cool Michael Golden. You get.
Yeah, you got Kelly Jones, Pat Broderick. You got some. I think Al Milgrom does like 1 or 2 fill-ins, like as pencil. Also,
incredible John Byrne. Is John Byrne in 1 through 19? That Hulk issue of Marvel Fanfare.
Yeah, that Hulk issue, which was in a Mark Grunwald Captain America omnibus last week, and I don't know why. I have no idea why.
Why wasn't that an issue of Hulk? Is it because Hammer and Anvil die?
Yes.
Was it because you had Byrne did this incredible 5-issue Hulk run, which is great.
Well, he traded. Speaking of like Micronauts and Mantlo, so Mantlo and Buscema, or Mantlo and Mignola were doing Hulk, right? And they switched Alpha Flight and Hulk. They said we're going to trade books, and then like the Mignola, Mantlo, Alpha Flights lasted for 20 years. Mantlo was on there for a while.
Right.
Mignola did maybe 5. Maybe they only did. Mignola made it 4 or 5 issues, but yeah, he goes over and then did like a couple issues of Hulk and then leaves.
Well, he leaves for Superman.
Wow. Well,
Hulk is one of Byrne's last books at Marvel. Like I think he had a bigger plan. In fact, I wonder if it was his idea because not long after John Byrne leaves, they bring in the Gray Hulk. He reverts back to the Gray Hulk, and then Rick Jones gets Hulk powers. And I wonder if that was part of John Byrne's plan, like to bring back the Gray Hulk.
How long after was when John Byrne left did David come on? Was that like right then?
9 issues. I think didn't Peter David come in at like 329? I think Byrne did up to 320 or 321.
Mm-hmm.
I think 319 is the wedding issue.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But 324 is when he comes back as the Gray Hulk.
Right.
I think McFarlane comes on 329. I think Peter David's like 328. Because you had Al Milgrom come right in. What's funny? Al Milgrom comes in, takes over after Byrne. But I feel like they threw it on Al Milgrom. Just like Liefeld brought up how Secret Wars 2, number 1, was drawn by Sal Buscema, and Shooter took Sal Buscema off of that and threw Al Milgrom.
Right.
So I wonder if it's the same thing. Is Al Milgrom just like the guy you bring in when shit goes down?
Yeah, I think he's fast. They're like, we need another Wolverine miniseries. Al Milgrom, what are you doing? Can you draw kind of like Frank Miller? He's like, I guess I'll do that.
Isn't that weird? What a weird idea. It's like, hey,
I hated it when I was a kid. I hated it, and now I kind of love it. Now I kind of love I love looking at it now. The Al Milgrom. I think and he was. I didn't talk to him. He was really busy. I'm trying to think what con I saw him recently at. Was it last year's Baltimore? And he had a line. He had it, but because I had some Captain Marvels for him to sign, and I was like, I should talk to him because his Engelhart Captain Marvel run is great.
It took me years to meet him because I had the Art Adams New Fantastic Four trade, like the original Marvel trade, and I got Adams to sign it. Art T. Bear was an inker. I got Simonson to sign it, and like Al Milgrom was like the last guy I needed to sign it. And finally he showed up. I'm like, finally. I think the dude only lives in New York, but like he just wasn't doing shows. Maybe he was one of those guys that don't realize like that he's still popular.
Yeah, they should do it. I couldn't get near Rubenstein, but when Joe Rubenstein did a con in like Blackwood, like a month or two ago, and he was slammed, and I was like,
No,
okay,
he's a guy. When Brian worked at Dynamic Forces, Rubenstein was doing like sketch covers for him, and he was like, I mean, he's like, I could care less. It's Joe Rubenstein, but then like you and I are like, no, he inked every Marvel Universe like
he's got
entry.
the Guinness record of touching the most like pencils,
Yeah,
basically.
most
Like
Marvel characters.
yeah.
You know, he
So
that's interesting.
he sells good prints. He's got it because there was some, but that because I was in line, and it was just the crowd. It was just too crowded there. I couldn't do it.
He's
So
inked everyone. Of course, he's got fantastic prints. Like,
yeah. Well, what he did, which I thought was interesting too, because he inked the cover of, or maybe he didn't ink it. I'm not sure. The George Perez cover of Infinity Gauntlet, but he would leave a space where he would redraw something in the corner if you wanted it to.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so there was like you can tell him to do a character or whatever. So
Yeah. He likes penciling. He enjoys penciling. You know, he just enjoys drawing, and that's pretty great. Like, if you're an artist, I love that you enjoy it. Like, you know, some artists are like, I'm done. You know, drawing for the day. I don't want to draw anymore. But some people stop drawing, and then they go somewhere else, and they're still drawing.
right.
Yeah. When Art Adams was doing that, this always jumps out at me is when he was doing Authority with Mark Miller, and I guess technically Grant Morrison ghosting that issue. He was so obsessed with Authority, like he would go to Rick Diners and he would still be sketching Authority characters on napkins.
Mm.
So it's kind of like it kind of really kills me that DC messed up the momentum on that book by making them redraw stuff and redraw characters.
Didn't they photo? Well, no, that was that Quietly where they photocopied where yeah, like one of it was the engineer or something gives the finger, and then they like
Quietly too,
photocopy
yeah.
the finger next to it, but like in England, that still
They,
works.
they
You know what I
made
mean? Like this means
the two finger salute or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, okay, good. You know, it's like saying like bloody. Okay, that's a curse
All
over
of a sudden,
there. You
that
know,
book became popular, and they're like, "Let's fuck with it." That guy looks too much like George Bush. That's a real country. Don't use a real country. Use a made up country that you're invading. Like, who cares?
right? Who cares?
You know,
Yeah,
they messed with Art Adams. They messed with Frank Whiteley. Like,
because who was supposed to take over after it was Millar, Morrison,
after Mark Miller was Azzarello. Azzarello was
Azarello.
going to do a storyline where it's like Jesus comes back. But because of 9/11, everyone got political and religious again. They're like, so it just killed Authority.
Right.
Authority had a widescreen special planned, solicited, and Brian Hitch had a story like written and drawn for that. A bunch of people did. That would have been a really cool book. And then
Yeah.
after Azzarello's run, I think it was Azzarello and J.G. Jones.
Okay. I think that's
Then
right. Yeah.
then you were going to get a year with Grant Morrison, like good Grant Morrison, not when Grant Morrison came back later and did one issue and it was real boring.
He did one issue Wildcats. So
Yeah, but the issue Wildcats is great.
I
His
don't
issue
remember at all.
Wildcats with Jim Lee is phenomenal. His issue
Mm-hmm.
of Authority with Gene Ha is like real boring.
That's
But I
right.
read the
Yeah.
script to the second issue of Wildcats, and it's fantastic.
Because that's in, is
It's
that,
in Wildstorm 25th anniversary.
yeah. It's so weird. We were I mentioned this week where I was watching Near Mint Condition and they had the Wildcats Compendium, which looked, I think the side logo was a little bit different. It looked cool. It looked like a good package, but I'm not sure if there was a planned reprint of the first, like, maybe like an archive edition or something
Right.
with Wildcats, but the first 0 through 4 or 5, that was all recolored by Alex Sinclair. I could tell right off. I've seen those books so many times, and I'm looking
They're
at it.
ingrained. They are ingrained in our heads.
Yeah, I could
Does he
see that they
does
were
he
different.
does he try to make it look like the original, or is he just Alex Sinclair?
He's Alex, a bit of both, because I noticed from the first, because again with M's face in the trash, he had more like orange tones on him, and I'm like, that looks different. And then so like I like toggled back on the YouTube. I'm like, okay, let me go, and every one had like a full page, and it said Alex Sinclair. It didn't say. And later on, when it goes to other stuff, it says was it Joe Rosas and Joe Chiodo? Joe Chiodo?
Now, the Absolute Wildcats did not recolor it. They just either found the original files and transferred them to digital, or they just they did an okay job, but sometimes they just scan the comic, which
Right.
sucks because we could tell it just looks flatter. It doesn't look like there's layers.
It doesn't have the right dimension. And I also don't know what to do with Wildcats 2 because the little like cycle mirror effects, they're gone. They're not there. So
Yeah,
it's like when I see it like in other things, I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like it
you're talking
just
about the
it's
awesome foil cover.
yeah.
Yeah. You can't just take here's a cover number two. Like, oh, it's just a
It's just it's like a purple background. Cool.
yeah.
Like you know what I mean? It's like okay. But then I jumped to the app to see if they did that because I know that they're doing a Warlord. I think I knew this before they announced it. They're doing a Warlord omnibus. I think they're doing one or two. But I think I told you this. I was like, they're going to reprint Warlord, and you're like, what do you mean? And I was like, there's nothing about that. I said every issue of Warlord started popping up when on DC Infinite digital, and it was recolored. And then it got to a certain point, and they just put scans in. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't understand. The DC app's weird. The DC app's weird like that. Is they'll have. So I jumped to the DC app just to take a look, and it's still the whatever the Wildstorm, and then they take the image out. They put a big DC logo. It's so goofy looking. Just leave the image logo in. Who cares? You know what I mean? Or like what Titan does is if they have the printing, they won't have the Marvel like banner, but they'll put like Titan Comics Publishing, and they'll just like switch it. So again, Titan has they got the good rules. They're doing the good stuff. Um, but yeah, I don't know where we got to that, but
we're still talking about the compendium. So that's neat. So they recolored 0 through 4, but the rest,
at least, yeah.
Because so that compendium compiles up through Jim Lee's run, and then
the James Robinson run, and then Team 1, I think. Not Team.
The James Robinson weirdly numbered miniseries where it's like
1, 2, 1, 2.
Ah, so dumb. It's like it's like
Stormwatch 1, 2,
Team 1 Wildcat, Team 1.
And I knew the reason why because when I was talking back and forth that had Gina Going colors, which was Tom Rainey art on one of them, Stormwatch or something or Wildcats, I don't know. But yeah, so I knew later on they must have had those files or whatever. So I don't know. I don't understand.
They have a lot of files with Wildstorm, but not all of them.
Yeah,
because the DC app for a while was like once a week. It's like here's Gen 13.1. Here's Gen 13.2. Here's Gen 13.3. What's disappointing, Mark? No Gen 13, number 13.
13 ABC. They can't do it.
Could you just do it? Could you just you made a contract? A lot of the image guys have a contract, a verbal contract. Mm-hmm. If I let you use my stuff, you have permission to reprint it forever. That's the rule.
Right.
So Gen 13.13, of course, the biggest thing you're going to have trouble with is Wolverine. Wolverine cameos in it. But it's a cameo. There should be something like, hey, we want to. That's a great issue. Completely drawn by J. Scott Campbell. Jeffrey Campbell.
Jeffrey Scott.
Great Scott.
I don't. Yeah, because you have Bone, Madman,
Turtles.
Is Hellboy in it? Maybe.
I think the Turtles. I think they do a funny parody of Liefeld in it.
Yeah, they have Strangers in Paradise, I think, are in that too, or
I get that that's really hard to do, but they should have made the Roger Rabbit handshake. Listen, all these guys are easy to work with. Allred's easy to work with. Jeff Smith's easy to work with. These guys are, from what you hear, Terry Moore is a super nice guy, and why wouldn't Terry Moore want you to promote his stuff in a DC book?
Yeah, Terry Moore wrote some Gen 13 stuff, right? And he did some like bootleg stuff.
I think he did some Gen 13 bootleg. I think his biggest book was doing Lady Supreme for Liefeld, which we talked about last week. We were talking about
Asylum. The catch-all. The whatever's around. Whatever's around.
And you know what's funny? Liefeld could make that book last another 100 issues just with the stuff he has laying around. He has so much stuff laying around that's unpublished. It's crazy. So does everybody.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. So actually leads into the Image February solicits question. Are you going to buy the Youngblood Vault edition? I
probably am.
I think I have to. Yeah,
I think I have to because that's really good Liefeld artwork.
That's burned. That's burned in. And I want to see. So the Vault edition basically is the artist edition. And it just says issues 1 through 4. So I'm not sure. It doesn't say extras, doesn't say ads, doesn't say. So I'm hoping that there's some stuff in there. But
I hope there's some neat stuff that I haven't. I hope it's got the Operation Urban Storm pages he did. Remember
I've never seen those. Yeah,
he did. He showed 2 pages 6 months ago, and I'm like, these are awesome because it's Liefeld in that image time. It looks
Mhm.
like just I have a fascination when artists show something from a time period where you were at your most nostalgic, you were their biggest fan.
Right, right.
Larson showed the back of one of the Savage Dragon pages. Actually, I think it was the back of the Spider-Man page where he's doing Savage Dragon designs, and he's not sure what to do with the fin yet. And one of them looks like a turd sitting on his head. One of them looks like tire tread going down, like he didn't know what he was doing. And it's really neat looking. They're like it's just you think these concepts come fully formed. They're not because we know
Right.
on the creative side.
Right.
But it's neat to see what else they were going to do. And I hope that Liefeld gives us some of that with the Vault.
Yeah, I mean well, I just want whatever's going to come out, I'm just going to be all for it. Whatever edition, I have my originals, I have I have a bunch of different. Was there a Youngblood trade?
Not officially. There's a Youngblood trade of 6 through 10, the Baptism of Fire stuff. All right, but Youngblood 1 through 4 was never traded. It was collected by Diamond. Diamond Previews did they just took the 4 issue Youngblood, stapled and glued them together.
I have the Dracula one for that. I just got that recently for $10 at a con.
Yeah, but the Youngblood one's worse because you could read the first issue Youngblood and then you got to read the second issue and flip it upside down. But you got to jump ahead to flip it. But then there's cards inside of it too because Youngblood 1 and 2 had cards in it.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I
gotta look for that.
Supreme story, flip upside down. Shadowhawk story, flip upside down. Hit story, flip upside down.
Yeah, see, I gotta look for that. I think that'll be on my list.
And the cover, Kinko's. It's like they just found
wrap
down the street. It's a horrible trade.
So
he did get who did it? Tom Mason recolored Youngblood 1 through 4, and Joe Casey rescripted Youngblood 1 through 4 and made them into one story. It's really good. He actually does a good job.
Zero. Yeah, Zero. Parts of Zero in that too, correct? But not the Fraga stuff.
Very little of Zero. Actually, I was kind of surprised because issue 0 is really good. It really fits in with the story.
But I think he just wanted to keep the Liefeld pages, so that's why the 0 is just the Liefeld pages, I believe. Yeah, maybe even less than.
Even the 4 to 6 pages Dan Fraga pencils, they're still Liefeld layouts. I hope we get an absolute Youngblood. I know we are. I just don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know if they're going to get Tom Mason to color 6 through 10. I don't know if they're going to
Youngblood.
Team Youngblood 9.
10. Yeah.
What number 10's got an awesome Liefeld cover? I don't know. There could be this incredible book they could compile. Use my Deathmate red pages that I rescripted.
Yeah, and then Butch Apple.
Did you read it?
No.
I sent it to you. It's fun.
No. That's awesome. Yeah, I got it. That's gonna be. Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
So yeah, Vault Edition.
Gonna be.
I didn't read the Dragon one. I know they made a Dragon one and they made a Spawn one. The Dragon one I was less interested in because when he does his archive editions, it's like here's 50 issues of Dragon in black and white, so it's kind of the same.
Right.
It's not. You can't see the whiteout, I guess.
Yeah, I want to see the paste ups. I want to see, I think that's what, even on the cover, it looks like that, the cover of it, I think Bad Rock in the back looks like they might have been redrawn or something and glued
redrawn on. or Valorum or whatever they put on it to make it look like it's textured.
Right.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I hope the comic scene cover's in there. I asked him about that because I have some art and that's a cover. The comic scene cover is more important to me than the cover to Youngblood #1 because that comic scene ingrained that book in my head. He used it for a poster, used it for comic scene, and never used it for anything else. I should have had the poster behind me as we talk about this.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I have that X-Force poster that someone put on corkboard that someone posted to the board, and I have that hanging up downstairs.
Cool. Promotional artwork that's not used in the comic is one of our obsessions.
Yeah, we should do a whole deep dive on that. We should have here's a bunch of stuff, here's a bunch of things. Because I want to say I recently saw, I think it was a Gotham by Gaslight house ad, and I was like, I don't think this art is in anything. I don't think it's in anything. I don't think it's in deluxe edition. I don't think it's in anything. So this is not in here, but real quick while I'm speaking about the Gotham by Gaslight. So they did something weird this week is that, and I didn't look at issue 1, 2, and 3, but I read the first 2 issues of the Kryptonian Age. So Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age.
Okay.
It's supposed to be 12 issues. You know what happened this week? Issue 6 came out.
No, because I've only read 1 through 3.
So issue 6 came out. It's at 6 of 6, and now number 7 is not happening, and they're doing another. It's like the League of Justice. It's like it's a colon. I believe it's. I think it's
Okay.
Batman, Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age, the League of Justice, and that comes out next year. Same team, and that, but like it's you know what, fine, just do that. Like just do that. I think Fernandez. I didn't like the first issue, but the second issue I liked so much. I'm just like I just want to wait. So now that all 6 are out, I guess I can read them all. Well, I'll wait for the DC app, and I'll read them all, and then wait for the next series. So, but yeah, but I've always hated that from when I was a kid. When Punisher was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 5, or one of 4, the Punisher miniseries, which was the Stephen Grant, Mike Zeck on the top. When miniseries were like I guess more exclusive. It was more exciting, right? Because it was like Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4. Or actually, no, it was just 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't even think they had the banner up top on Wolverine. Does that sound right?
No, because it was older. They didn't.
Yeah. So Punisher is 86, 87, 87, I think. And then so Punisher is 1 of 4. I want to say 2 of 5, 3 of 4, 4 of 4, 5 of 5. And I always hated, even though later on I appreciate Mike Vosberg for doing Dazzler and other stuff, but I hated when I was a kid because I had the Circle of Fire trade, and I liked all the Zek artwork. Well, you have 2 Zeks in my opinion, right? You got fat head Zek, you got skinny head Zek. So meaning Punisher on one page, he looks like he's like a broad head, broad fat head Punisher, and then he yells, and then it's basically real skinny. And then the issue 5, it just kind of ends, and then it's like I don't know what happened. Then you just have Mike Vosberg drawing it, and it's a completely different style, feels completely different. Feels like I was like, what is this ending? And that's the ending. Like you could have ended at issue 4 for me, and I'd be like, okay, I guess it's over, but it's not. I don't care. Like to me, it just killed me.
It's a weird time because Marvel was growing at that point. I think they didn't know the growth spurts that was about to happen to them in the industry because they didn't expect that Punisher series to be as crazy good as it was. Same with G.I. Joe. Same with Transformers.
Yeah,
all these things surprised them.
Punisher, but what happened? We need to get Mike Zeck on the phone and be like, "Yo, what happened? Where'd you go? Why did this happen?"
He probably gave him X amount of time to start. Well, they gave him a certain amount of time to start, and then when it kept going, he's like, "Yeah, too much," because the first issue is double sized, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's weird? Usually, a double sized issue denotes a long, ongoing series because they want to get you in. Most famously recently, Brian K. Vaughan did that with Saga. Saga was like double sized first issue because he really wanted to get a good story going to get you into the book. And Kirkman's like, yeah, that's a stupid idea. That's a dumb because he didn't charge any more for it. And then Kirkman's like, wow, that was a smart idea. And Kirkman's like, I'll show you. And his first issue ends up being a graphic novel for
Firepower Zero or Firepower.
Fire Fist.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, well, we'll see. Well, I guess speaking of that, like, so the on Image stuff, the other stuff that I thought was interesting is they're doing a 6-issue miniseries by the Conan crew was Jason Aaron, Mahmoud Asrar, the end of the Marvel, the King Conan launch,
right?
Or I guess launch Conan and Conan, and then so that's good. I mean, to me, I want to see. And what's weird about that is that popped up, and then like when I was on, I really like the we'll talk about it later. I really like the Supergirl storyline, the alien Supergirl storyline that's going on in action in the backup. I think in some ways it's actually like and I like Skylar Partridge. I like the art. I think it's really good. But I didn't know that Mahmoud Asrar did. I guess in New 52 when they relaunched Supergirl, he drew that, but it wasn't quite his style yet, like how he is now.
It's funny.
It looked really good
to see Mahmoud Asrar go back to Image. Because I started liking him on Dynamic 5.
Right, which was Jay Farber.
Jay Farber. Yeah, that was a really great Image comic. His whole section of Image was great. Noble Causes was a really good comic.
Noble Causes launched a lot of people. That was like
Patrick Gleason.
Sinar, I think, Gilderay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
It's funny to see. So I'm always down for whatever Jason Aaron wants to do. I always check it out. I loved his Is it called The Goddamned? That was a really good
Yeah,
book.
yeah, yeah. I didn't read his whatever the one he just did through IDW, which was like 12 issues. I think it's done now. Maybe I'll go back to it.
Oh,
Uh,
something about falling in love at the end of the world or something.
yeah, yeah. I think that's
That
done
was
now.
I think it was
So
through Boom or Aftermath, one of those other ones.
yeah, yeah,
It was good. It was really good. He had
yeah.
what was it? It was him and Dave Dragata doing some of it, and it was like different. There was different eras through the book, and they had different artists doing it. So
Right.
that's always a smart move, and it helps keep a book monthly. You know, if you can have two artists drawing a monthly comic.
Yeah, well, that's what I think works, and we'll get to action in a little bit because I like that they have the beast. They have three stories, but they kind of have like a B story in the with the Superboy and then the Kong Keenan
Mm-hmm.
Japanese Superman ish.
Chinese.
Yeah. So there we go. Racist mark. Yeah, but so I guess just to do that, so they are doing a compendium, East to West compendium. Speaking of Dragatas, I guess they're just using the popularity of Absolute Batman. Go ahead, get that money. You know what I mean? Get that money.
No,
East to
and
West,
people
I
aren't
think
aware.
I want
People don't
that
know.
in one stack. I think that would be a good sit and read. Yeah, I think that
It is
would
a good
fit
read. It's
well
strong.
in that. I've only ever read the first like 5 issues that I never
It's
finished it.
probably really good rereading it. I have a problem with Hickman books that go too long. He
Mm.
seems to lose focus. But maybe if I read it clear through instead of reading it monthly, that focus might stay in.
Yeah, I
He's
don't think
always
I've
really
read.
good when he
I'm
starts off the book.
I never complete his books. I never. It's not.
See,
It's not.
that's
It's
what I
not
mean.
him.
Manhattan
It's my
Projects
fault.
kind of falls apart in the end. And I love Manhattan Projects when that book started.
Yeah.
But then when he does his miniseries, you know, if they're tight, they're good. His Marvel one shots are good. His miniseries are good. You know,
Yeah, we talk about. I like all his Marvel stuff that he's doing right now, but I only like it because he's doing like non-continuity stuff.
non-continuity and their miniseries.
Yeah. So that the DC Compact comics, even though they're not for us, they have 15. So 10, the first 10 are all back to press, all coming back out. So Watchmen, Shocker, third printing, All Star Superman, second printing. So these are all coming out right around now. Court of
Now
Owls,
these are
second printings.
smaller than a
These
regular
are the
comic.
9.99. Yeah, I want to say that they're. I think that they're like this size. This is a speed racer. I think they're this size.
these are meant to give to
Pretty
kids
sure.
because old man eyes aren't great with smaller lettering.
No, they're not. It's funny you say that. Is that I was looking at something this week and I just was like zoom in. I just was like, and what you know what it is? It was Absolute Batman because Absolute Batman the letters are small,
Right.
and I'm like,
So
yeah. So Old Man Eyes isn't good, but to me, this kind of goes into the fact that so let's see, they're doing Hush second print. So they have all of this is I think that the value for $10 on all these is pretty nuts. So like okay, so Wonder Woman Earth One was 3 books, yeah, that was three
correct.
books, and they were all 24.99. The rest original hardcovers are, and then maybe $15-$20 soft covers. You can get all 3 Earth One books, Grant Morrison, Yannick Paquette, 9.99. Joker Compact Edition by Azarello Bermejo. I want to say that's Joker, and then like Noel. I want to say there's a couple things in there.
Yeah.
Catwoman, Trial of Catwoman. That's the first like 8 issues. Again, $10. Um, and then because it's 12 issues for Absolute Superman rather, right? All Star Superman rather. So the ones are coming out next year. Kingdom Come, $10 in May. Static Season 1. I think that's the newer stuff. DC Deceased. I think 2 miniseries are in that. Batman Elegy, Authority Book 1, $10. That's 12 issues. This is kind of nuts. It doesn't say if it has the Pat Lee issue because Pat Lee was 7. Yeah,
Yes.
Superman, Batman, DC Comics Compact Edition, Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness.
That's the Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness.
You're not going to double. To me, that's
13 issues, maybe 12. They take out 7.
Yeah, they're probably going to take out 7. But like, you're telling me you're not going to make that money? Like that's and it's so funny. I got it off. Tim had it. He had sets. So Tim sells overpriced sets, right? Tim Quixel.
Yes.
So when you go, so he just dropped some of his
local
sets
comic book dealer for those in the
yeah. The show I went to last week, he dropped a bunch of his sets in. I picked it up. I'm like, is this $1? He says $1 per issue, and it was 1 through 7 of Superman, Batman for $1. Okay, you know what I mean? Like that's fine. All first print. It's only one cover. It's the Batman cover of 1, but that's okay. Whatever. But I'll buy that for $1. You know what I mean? That's fine. New Frontier. Can I have another copy of that? Sure. Yeah, $10. You know, like have that. Like, you know, I don't want that smaller though.
These
Actually, the one I have
these
is
books
I'm
do
gonna
not appeal to me in any way, shape, or form. But the
no
idea of buying these books and giving them to my daughters,
Long
maybe,
Halloween, $10. Long Halloween.
you
You know, the
know.
Long Halloween.
Actually,
13 issues.
I'm such a stuck up snob. Some of these books I do want to buy for my daughters, and I will go buy the big absolutes. Like I can't hand them, I can't
We3.
hand my daughters a $10 trade, but I could give it to my nephew. You know, I give it to kids I don't love as much as mine.
Yeah. The like so yeah, it says death. I wonder what that means. It says death. Oh no, it's just death. So that's two miniseries death, 6 issues, and probably like art.
And
Uh
the 8 special for the kids.
right. Right. It's just yeah, maybe. I mean it's like oh man, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. These do not appeal to me. However, I'm happy that like I guess they're doing well. They're doing second prints, third
Put them in.
prints.
These should be in school libraries.
Yeah, that would be really fun if they were in
My
libraries.
daughters, though they don't really read a lot of comics, they were tearing into graphic novels at their libraries.
It would be
You
tough. I
know?
mean, it would be you know, so and then speaking of like collections, and this is they didn't have a price on this thing, but Fantagraphics and Zoo partner on Dom Simpson's Megaton Man, 608 pages, and apparently it's everything. It's everything.
That, that everything, or is this Megaton Volume 1?
I don't know. It says everything. It
He
says
had said in the past he was doing 2, but this is everything. It's everything. Megaton comics are really hard to get. There are a bunch of them you can get for $1 easily. But then there's stuff that's not. His Bizarre Heroes, his Savage Dragon backups.
mhm,
Like that story went everywhere. And
right.
I would love to read it. So this book appeals to me. But here's what doesn't appeal to me. I think it's in black and white.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I know a lot of those stories were in color. Whether or not he doesn't have the files, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whether or not he wants to spend the money to get them recolored, don't know. If this does good, maybe we'll get something later. What he should do is get this book out. Maybe kickstart issue by issue, recoloring it, because some people have been doing that. It's a smart move.
Mhm.
Because these comics are, you want these comics to be evergreen. You know, these comics, you want them to outlive you. You want this money to go to your kids. I don't know if he has kids.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't. He's both an awesomely super nice guy and a grump at the same time.
Right. Right. Right.
Every
Yeah.
interaction I've had with him, phenomenal. When he talks online, old grouch. So I don't know what,
Right.
like, I know him and Liefeld don't like each other. Where,
Mhm.
you know, Simpson's like, oh, Liefeld did this. And I was like, oh, he's an asshole. You know, like, whatever. But as far as my interactions with him have always been thumbs up. And he gets along good with Jim Valentino. And Jim Valentino is another super nice guy.
Right.
Jim
Right. Right.
Valentino did a really nice collection. Liefeld paid for, what was it called? Splitting Image.
Mhm.
Liefeld paid for that. He published it. And I think maybe Liefeld pushed it back at the printers and maybe it was returnable. I don't know. Don Simpson had some complaint about it being late. I don't really recall it being late, probably because I didn't really care at the time.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I wanted
Right.
my Image books on time. I didn't really care about Splitting Image.
Well, yeah, Splitting Image basically was kind of cashing in on everyone was doing parody books of all the characters. Like, well, we might as well get in on this too,
You might as well.
you know? So
It was a weird book because it was very meta.
yeah, yeah,
And the artists were in it, their characters were in it. It was more of a parody of the formation of Image, along with the parody of the comics. The creators themselves got in on the back covers of Splitting Image,
hmm
or like
yeah,
you know, they would redraw, you know, their covers in a parody version. Really great stuff.
yeah. I don't know if I've ever finished that.
And they have
That's
varying
six.
back covers. You know that?
No.
Yeah, like there's multiple back covers for issue 1. There's like Savage Drag Queen and Young Brat Brood and
I don't know.
Spasm. You know, there's like
I
yeah,
don't know
different
anything
back
about that.
covers.
That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know, but it's interesting. But I never bought anything off of Zoo, but I hear that they do have just some good digital stuff. So I'm not sure.
Well,
I know you wanted to talk about Atlas. How Atlas is having some type of. I had trouble finding it. We talked about it midweek, and I was trying to dig around and find like a website for them. And I feel like
is there not a website yet?
I swear I saw something at one point, but now I can't find anything. But
Well,
Atlas is, you know, Atlas is going back and they're going to relaunch Devilina and Hands of the Dragon and what was the one Cougar? Like they're gonna
Cougar, Tiger Man, Grim Ghost.
Grim
These are all
Ghost.
really cool characters. You and I love the Atlas comics. We love them. There's 2 to 4 issues of each one. They're drawn great. They're colored good. They came out in 1975-ish.
Yeah.
75-ish, Finkel. Like,
but it's so odd to me that like they are doing Migos of these like first, and they're gonna be in like Walmart.
yes. And at San Diego New York Comic Con, they were handing them out to the first 100 people at the Walmart booth.
At the Walmart.
Walmart
so
gets
weird.
the booth in New York Comic Con because they want to be in on collectibles. And honestly,
And then
it's a smart
Wi-Fi.
idea.
Yeah, Wi-Fi was paid for by it was just like one it was like one sign. It's like all the
And
Wi-Fi is paid for by Atlas Comics. And I'm like,
it was like the booth didn't even, I don't know if it said Walmart, but it's like Sam's 5 and 10, which is the first Walmart store. Sam Walton
right, okay.
Art had a 5 and 10. But the sad thing is there's no Toys R Us anymore. So where do you go to get your toys? Walmart or Target.
But I wonder if like I think they have a new initiative because I saw Nacellverse, Brian Wolkweiss had a commercial this week on Instagram, and the commercial literally was like, "Look out for this palette, like this drop palette," where like they don't even merchandise like the stores anymore. It's Christmas time, so they're just dropping pallets. So there's like a Hot Wheels palette that just hit, right? So it's just like it's already filled, or it's like a character palette, it's like filled up. It's all that. So it's kind of it's their pre-packaging. So there is a palette drop that's going to happen for Nacellverse, and it has who is it? It has Biker Mike, Mice from Mars, RoboForce, uh, Sectars. But like the price point, and look, I just think that I can't think about I can't spend $35 on a Sectars toy. I just don't have it. And it's all 98 because I guess that's Walmart's thing, right? So it's 34.98 for like Sectars for RoboForce. There was someone else too.
Well, that's a lot cheaper than $34.99, the typical.
That's right.
Is that the old
34.99. I
back? You have
can't
the
do
little
it.
circle.
34.98. And then, but see, here's what I would buy, which makes no sense because the price point is there. They're putting out a Great Garlu, which is just like it's like a golem from space, and it's 9.98. I'm like, oh, 9.98. Okay, I can buy that. Like they show all the stuff. I'm like, oh no, I want that Sectars, but no, no, no.
Does
Great
it look
Garlu.
like original Sectars, or is the line
No,
more
it looks like
homogenized?
no,
Does
it looks
everything
like
look like?
yeah, they all look the RoboForce look like RoboForce toys. If you put the RoboForce toys next to a RoboForce toy, it's RoboForce. That's the same.
So suction cup bottom with
That's right.
the bendy arms. That
correct.
once you bent them too many times, they just stayed that way.
I hope that's what's going to happen. I hope they're going to
rot. They were in perpetual hug motion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully they'll just rot that way. So yeah, that just seems to be the new thing. But the Walmart comics, like, I don't know, because again, remember they had the Walmart.
You know what?
DC reprints a couple years ago, right? Remember that was kind of a fiasco because they either wouldn't film the DC comics where they did the reprints, but they had the beginning of it. They had a Batman universe one, they had a Superman universe one.
Yes, it's like a good idea, poorly done.
Well, there's no like system where it fills. Like that's the thing is like people would go there and then they would see like they'd issue 1 and issue 5 and then 2, 3, 4. There's no way to ask someone where it is. It never came to that Walmart or someone bought them all.
Walmart didn't know where to put them. They just should have put them with the magazines.
They put them with the trading cards. They put them with the trading cards.
Bad move. Mm-hmm. The idea of a Walmart comic is you're there with your kids. Here's a comic to shut them up. Or, hey, we're going down the shore. We're grabbing some food. Mm-hmm. Here's a comic for the ride. That's where Walmart could sell comics. But the problem is you didn't give these comics to the fans who love Jerry Ordway, who love Brian Bendis, who love, Tom King. So what you should have had was an initiative to, all right, here's your Walmart stuff, but also comic stores, you can order them too. Right. Like, or something. Like maybe offer them to the comic stores without the reprints. Or assure the comic stores, hey, we're going to collect them for you. At first, they weren't telling comic stores that they were even going to collect them.
Right.
So the point is the collectors were going to Walmart scalping them. They were buying them to scalp. And then the whole idea of kids buying new comics, because they were cheaper too. Weren't they only like $5 for like 80 pages?
Yeah, they had a lot of reprints in the back, but I have a couple of them. I got them in dollar bins, like because I won't pay anything more than $1. typically.
They failed. They failed the fans, and they failed making new fans. The point was, comics, DC wanted to make new fans, and they didn't because they didn't offer it to the fans as well. Back to Nostalverse, who we love because they just took all these toys that we didn't really love. You know what they should have had? Nobody ever gets Black Star. Black Star predates He-Man. Glow in the dark sword. The first version of Black Star didn't have remember that volume 2, wave 2 had like the sparklers on the back? Mm-hmm. You would pull a spark in your chest with.
Right.
Anyway.
Burn your finger, and then you'd be like, this is dangerous.
Glow in the dark sword. The dragons got glow in the dark teeth. This predates He-Man by like a year. Good cartoon by Filmation. But yeah, nobody ever gets the rights to him.
I wonder if Peter Chung worked on that theme. I watched something this week. There was where they had the storyboards for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Peter Chung did the storyboards for that.
For the intro?
For the opening sequence, yeah. And all the storyboards are on Instagram, and this guy he made it on YouTube. He did it side by side. And I'm like, it's awesome because they're, for the most part, and I guess I'm trying to think there was one. Oh, they where what's his name is dancing? Michelangelo's dancing.
Yeah, because he's a party machine,
right? in the storyboard, it had him in like a padded cell. So I don't know. They turned into a disco. They're like, okay, we can't have him why would he be in a padded cell? Because he's crazy. Because he's dancing and wherever. So they put him in a disco. But other than that, it was pretty. Yeah, I know. Other than that, it was pretty close. They did a couple small, slight angle turns on Shredder, but for the most part, like it is exactly those drawings.
Right.
Like exactly.
I want to do a little bit of an info dump here for the Atlas thing. So Jeffrey Robin worked for Warren Magazine. He got hired by Martin Goodman to kind of help run the Atlas line in the 70s. Now, Jeff Robin is still attached to the Atlas characters, so he's helping out this new form. It's owned by Stephen Goodman. Jason Goodman. Jason Goodman is the grandson of Marty Goodman. So he kind of owns the Atlas characters. And he sold the rights to Stephen Paul, who is a producer from the Ghost Rider movies.
That's right.
I'm sure he has a bunch of other credentials, but that's the one I want to key in on because that's where he got his love for comics. And then he discovered Atlas Comics and got in touch with Jason Goodman and Jeff Robin. So apparently the Devilina is the first movie you're getting. Devilina, I guess,
it's their Vampirella character.
It's Satan's sister. So, but everything's coming out of that because they're going to have 3 or 4 other Atlas characters in that movie, whether cameos or guest stars. I know. It's the whole what I want to get to is so it's like this. They want to do cartoons. They want to do podcasts, audio dramas. Paramount signed up for the movies because Paramount doesn't have anything other than Star Trek and Mission Impossible, right?
Right. Mission Impossible's over.
Mission Impossible's over. Star Trek is struggling. They don't have something huge right now. They got Transformers, which even Transformers we don't know where it's at.
Right. Yeah.
So, but what I don't like is Hollywood thinks they can just grab a bunch of comic characters and make movies out of it. This has always been Hollywood's MO. It's like, oh, superheroes are big. Let's
Bloodshot.
You just can't grab. Like, you have to give us a good movie or build up to a movie. Like, The Boys works because it's really good. But there was already a fan base for The Boys there to help propel it. And you got good people to work on The Boys. Like, I think John Voight's name was thrown in for this new Atlas. And I'm like, nobody cares about John Voight. In fact, half of America hates him.
Right. He was uncanceled. That's why Francis Ford Coppola wanted to hire canceled actors like Shia LaBeouf and John Voight. I'm like, okay.
All right. Shia LaBeouf they're both good actors, but nobody cares about either one of them. Shia LaBeouf is trouble. And John Voight's ridiculous in a lot of aspects.
That's right. He is trouble.
So I've never liked that idea. Like, that's why we got the, Nightman TV show, or that's why we got the Kate always like kills me, or the magic. Like, it's just like, I hate bad superhero ideas, and I love third-party superhero ideas. I love
Mantis. Technically, the Carl Lumley, who was Mantis, he's going to be in the new. He's Isaiah Bradley in the Cap movie. Maybe it's a Mantis sequel.
Even like even like Darkman. As a kid, I didn't like it because I'm like, I don't know who Darkman is.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
we like
yeah,
the Darkman movie, you know, but like we don't like it because it's Darkman. Meteor Man, you
yeah.
know.
I like Darkman now, but I only like it backwards from like it was the Sam Raimi movie.
Yeah, you
Like
like it
it's
the Sam Raimi.
right.
I never even watched Meteor Man. Did you?
No, I didn't want
I never
that. Yeah,
watched.
no,
I never watched
no.
Handyman movie. I know it's probably funny, but I can't imagine anyone ever bringing up that movie ever again.
Yeah, don't.
The Return of Captain Invincible. I only watched like half of it, and then I had to return the tape. That's
Oh,
that's Alan Arkin.
oh, I don't know about that at all.
Oh, Return of Captain Invincible. Yeah, yeah.
No.
Look that up. I don't know. It's not streaming anywhere. Like I even tried to pirate it, and like the pirated copy I got like sucked. Like I can't.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like where because I downloaded some of the I'm trying to find like the Dylan Dog movies. I can't really find them. I started to get there was a Dracula movie that I downloaded last week that I don't know what it is. It's like a 77 Dracula, but it's not a Hammer horror. Like it's so there's stuff that I want to try and watch. I watched The Blob on Tubi last or
The original
two
or
nights
the
back.
80s?
The 80s one. The 80s one as a kid
I
is
loved it.
scary and
Yeah.
it's still scary. Sophia came home and she came in the house fast and I like jumped. I'm like, this is a scary movie. Like, and she's like, it looks horrible and cheesy. I'm like, I'm very scared right now because it reminded me when I was a kid, because again, that was Chuck Russell did that, written by Frank Darabont, actually has Jeffrey DeMunn in it as well. Like it's always the Jeffrey DeMunn staple. Um,
Frank Darabont
Frank Darabont
he
co-wrote it and it
just
was Chuck Russell.
he ups
But
stuff.
it is scary, and it's like it's really really scary. It's got Shawnee Smith and got Kevin Dillon, yeah. So Kevin Dillon's in it, looking oblivious for most of the movie, but he's the bad kid on a like a dirt bike, and like he's got
Yeah.
to get her out. But when they go into uh the movie theater, and it's like the projector gets like blobbed over or whatever and then burns and then it just starts picking people up. It's so scary. Like it's tough. And even the cover, and it was the same thing. I always bring up Caroline's video. The cover is when the guy, I don't know how they did the effect. It was real. And I don't know how the guy is like alive, but they had like, remember they had all the blob like going over him and his hands are out like this and he's like drowning. It's so frightening. And it's in the movie, and they just like, all right, we're gonna take a keyframe of that, and that's your cover, and it's scary. Like it's so, and there was a lot of those like right around that time. Like Night of the Comet is really good, same thing. So I'm like kind of like getting into watching those like 80s horror. Hellraiser, Nightbreed is on Tubi, the director's cut, which is not better, but it's more, a little more,
It's
not
more.
better,
You
but
know, there's
more.
a real life threat of the blob. You ever heard of the gray goo effect? It's the
No.
idea where you take a AI and you program this AI to make gray goo, and it just takes matter, and any sort of matter turns it into gray goo. Well, once you start doing it, there's an idea that you won't be able to stop it. So just forever, this AI just continually makes gray goo out of everything. And it's like a real AI horror story concern. It's just yeah.
I don't want that. That sounds horrible. That
No,
sounds horrible.
it's
But
horrible.
did they announce anything as far as that? Like, this is the problem is that, like, and I wish I went to New York with you, but I didn't and I couldn't, and it wouldn't have been good. But I would have just sat there and like waited for Larry Hama because they had like, it was like 375 copies of like Hands of the Dragon #1. They did it like a facsimile edition
Right.
free. And you get a time I had Larry Hama, and I was like, man, like, you know what I mean? It would have been like me.
No,
And I mean, it's not on eBay. I haven't been able to see it. And I just think that would have been like super, super fun. But
what I wonder, Mark.
there's no teams for this thing so far.
No, and what I wonder is that when Atlas was founded, the way Martin Goodman got people to work for him to take people from Marvel is that because what happened was he owned Marvel, Martin Goodman, and then he sold it to Cadence Chemicals, you know. But his thing was, listen, keep my kid Chip as the publisher, and they're like, yeah, no problem. Well, as soon as Martin Goodman sold it, he was out of there. Stan Lee's like, we don't need him, so he fired his son. That's why he made Atlas Comics. He's like, well, F you, I'll show you. Because Marvel was already on shaky grounds distribution wise. Because you got to remember, in the 60s, Marvel was distributed by DC's distributors. That's why Marvel was only allowed to have 8 comics throughout the 60s.
That's so weird. Yeah.
Distributor is always a weird thing. So in the 70s, he gets the Marvel writers and artists by offering more money, uh,
We got a lot
better
more
treatment.
money per
He had a
page.
lot more
Yeah.
money, and he said creator ownership or creator participation. So here it is, 50 years later. Is that still a thing?
Oh, I don't know. Are they going to do the same philosophy? You mean, are they going
Well,
to do
no.
the same?
Are these guys
Right.
owed anything? Does it Ditko Estate get something for like Tiger Man?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know
Probably
either.
not.
Yeah, because those contracts are old. Who's alive? Oh, Chaykin's still alive. You know.
Yeah, Staten just passed away because Jaden did Cougar and did a couple other ones in there. Um, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But again, I just and this is going into this. The next story I had was basically that Mad Cave signed Speed
Well,
Racer.
the one last thing I want to say is,
Mhm.
if you want to sell Atlas, get image covers. Get me a Liefeld Tiger Man because it works. Dynamic Force, like, oh, we're going to do a new comic. Let's get a Liefeld cover because he killed it on those Thundercats covers, and his Hercules covers, which he showed sketches of, look incredible. I don't even know if those books have been announced yet, but he's got covers for the Hercules 1 and 2 that look great. So can you get like a Larson cover? You can pay Jim Lee anything. Jim Lee will do it. His exclusivity contract has like loopholes throughout it.
Right. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be 90s guys. Obviously, anyone modern who's not under contract. Because we want to see Atlas characters drawn by people we know. Like, I don't care about the interiors. Still get good people.
Right. Yeah, but you would figure that you could probably get, like, even if you got someone in the middle, like you got like Alex Siviak or something like that, like if you got someone that, or even, John Bogdanov had some work in Action Comics this weekend. It was awesome. You have him draw something. Ow,
you do have a lot of people who are out there. What's Kerry Gamble came across my mind the other day. Is he still alive?
Yeah, I want to say, I feel like I saw him doing something recently too. A lot of these guys are just, kind of just doing, project here and there.
Last week we talked about Pop Man doing the new Devils do G.I. Joe style comic.
Yeah. Well, Pop Man did one of those like AEW backups this week, and like or it might have been, I read all my Action Comics in a row. I read like 170, 1072, 345 yesterday, so that's all caught up.
We'll have to get to that for reviews day. So what was that? What are you talking about now? Mad Cave?
Yeah, Mad Cave signed, but again, like they sign it, and everything is so press release happy. Like I just feel like whenever there's a press release, just give me a creator, give me something, because they just had old key art for Speed Racer. So Speed Racer, and it mentioned that they are going to do new property, but I wonder. It seems like everything that they're getting, they are reprinting old property too. So for example, like the Flash Gordon's coming, it's here. Right. And they have Flash Gordon Quarterly, but then they're doing the dailies. They're doing the Alex Raymond reprints, which Fantagraphics had some, but they were like horribly overpriced. I have one book I bought from Stormwatch that was $10 or something like that, and it's like one of the Alex Raymond like famous ones where almost every third page you saw something where they lifted that art for like a Batman. 70s something, or
they lifted it. Bob Kane lifted it for Batman. Is that the whole thing?
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. But I have this book. I got this a couple years ago. This was a slipcase, but these were really good.
Nice.
Like really, really good reprints. And I'm hoping that they put those out. These are really nice.
He is a demon on wheels.
Like these are, and they still they smell great too. This was through DMP Books. And I bought this New York Comic Con a couple years ago for like $10, and it had like a good like slipcase too. Not quite a slipcase. Pretty cool. Now, so yeah, you could definitely do, but this is everything. This is actually.
Now, do you have a picture of yourself as Speed Racer to show everyone?
I do somewhere, yeah. I do, and I have a pose where I'm going like this. Where I'm like this,
right?
So yeah, I still have the helmet in the basement. I still have a costume. It's a pretty easy costume. You know what the hardest thing in that costume was? Was finding white pants. I had to go see. I found like I couldn't find white jeans. It was like, and I asked her like, "It's not summer." I'm like, "I know it's not summer. It's Halloween. I need white pants." I guess white jeans are summer.
Like, sorry, don't you know we don't wear white after Labor Day?
I was like, I don't know.
Are you not aware of the the fashion laws.
I'm not knowing of the rules, but May Cave, I mean, and I mean, listen, like whatever they're gonna do, to me, the Gotcha Man license, and I didn't read the one shot this week. I know it was like the girl, it was June was the one shot this week. I didn't read it yet, but Flash Gordon's been great, and Gotcha Man's been great. So, and Gotcha Man is on something. It's not on Tubi. It's on something because in the new issue of Gotcha Man, they mentioned like all episodes on X or on something or other
Right,
with
right.
some like another
Not X
streamer,
the channel, not X the
not
website.
X the not
Yeah.
X the whatever, not Twitter. Um,
I realize I got to stop saying X. I say X for everything except for Twitter. I still call it Twitter.
right. Yeah, you
Like
say
I'll
X for
say,
everything.
I know. I guess I got
Um,
to start saying Y.
and then and then you wanted to talk about
Solve,
the new Copra
solve,
Mini,
solve for
right?
Y, Mark. Oh,
Is the
Youngblood.
Copra Mini coming out like through Kickstarter or anything, or that's
Now,
just all coming
here's
out
what's
through
interesting
Image?
about Death of Copra, new miniseries. Michel Five is doing it through Image Comics. It is 47, 48, I'm sorry, 46, 47, 48, 49. Not doing 50 because he doesn't care about the numbering. But also, he did that miniseries Copra Versus.
Hmm.
So, like, he kind of counts them. So, technically, there's been like 55 issues of Copra.
Oh,
But
okay.
here's what's cool Michel Vive has always offered Copra through his Etsy. Like, you can order it from him. He prints it up, he ships it, he does everything. He loves being hands on for every aspect of Copra. He did distribute it through Image for 6 issues, but he missed, like, he didn't feel the Image paper matched his paper quite enough.
The Bergen Street Comics paper. Yeah.
No, Bergen Street only did the trades.
Right. Okay.
Copra Press is his Copra Press. I had to get this straight as well. Bergen Street, I guess, was a local store. They only made collections.
Yeah, I have the
They
first
did not
trade
want to
that's
do
that. Yeah.
single issues, correct? So he went to Image, didn't love it, went back to his own Etsy Copra Press. But Image still did the digital issues, did it digitally, and they still did the trades. So now he wants to finish the series off. You can buy it through Image. They have awesome variant covers, including a variant cover each issue of a project that's special, of an Image thing that's special to him. The first issue has a Bloodstrike variant cover, Bloodstrike versus Copra, which he did the incredible Bloodstrike miniseries.
Yeah.
Brutalist.
The
The second
Brutalists.
issue has a Savage Dragon variant cover. Well, Michel Fife did a series of backups in Savage Dragon called Twisted Dragon Funnies or whatever.
Mhm.
He did the first one, I think the last one. And Eric Large's like, this is cool, keep doing it. So he got all his independent friends for a year to do backups in Savage Dragon. And when they collected that into a trade, there's even more stuff in it by more people. Like Tom Sholey's got like 2 stories in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So get that Twisted. It's called Twisted Dragon. It's like a trade. It made a hardcover too. So in your search for cheap books to get, put that towards the top of the list. So, but simultaneously, he's still doing an Etsy version of these comics that he's going to self-distribute to his hardcore fans, and I think that's really cool. I actually think that's really cool. Like, here's still my Etsy version, but here's still the mainstream. Let me see if I can get this in as many people's hands as possible. Because this is it for Copra. He's done for the foreseeable future. I'm not saying he's not going to do Copra 2.0 10 years from now.
Right. Yeah.
But he has so many ideas he wants to get to. And Copra has been a great tool for him to get his ideas out there. Like Alan Moore's Swamp Thing is great, but it was also a vehicle for Alan Moore to get out different ideas that aren't Swamp Thing related in that book. And that's what Michel Fife has done with Copra. He's like, I want to do a Doctor Strange story. Here's Doctor Strange character. I want to do a Punisher. Here's a Punisher type character. And it's such a great love song for his Suicide Squad. He loves Suicide Squad. He's a big fan of the 80s and 90s comics. He's us. Michel Fife is us, but talented. Artistic.
I don't know how. I guess the thing that always kind of freaks me out when I see his stuff, like I've never seen his early work looks the same as his brand new work. Like there's no like, oh, he got better here. It's like he was like fully formed.
He's
like
fully formed.
Yeah, like Zegas, which I've never seen, and then I think I saw a digital copy of it recently, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this. I thought this was like his earliest. I think when as early as 2016, I want to say. But like, it doesn't look different. It doesn't look like it's his early work per se. You know what I mean? Like you could see like Dragata, right? So you look at Dragata, like early stuff is different. He did FF or did some stuff here and there, and then did East of West now doing this new style. It's different,
Yes,
but
yes.
Vive is the same all the way back and forth. So
He sees a lot of difference, I'm sure. I can see some difference. I think it's like anything. The longer you're into something, the more you see the differences. But if you went and showed me a page from Zegas that and told me it was a new page, I would go, okay, yeah, it's a new page.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you there. So I know it's a big old black cat.
He's staying. He's got to stay. He's got to stay right here. He's got to stay right here. Ow. Okay. And then my last.
Ask him to stay. When you ask him to stay, that's when he leaves.
That's right. And then so my last bit of news, and it didn't really get too much trade press this week, which I thought was really weird, is that the Toho greenlit the Godzilla like -1 sequel. Well, they didn't. It's the press release again, very vague press release, just says that they signed Takeshi Yamazaki, writer and director of VFX Oscar Award winner of Godzilla -1 to a new Godzilla film. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Are you doing like Godzilla -0.5 or like what are we doing? -2? That doesn't make sense. Like I don't know.
That would be further in the past.
Right. So I don't know how they're, I don't know what that means. So again, I don't care because I can't believe that movie's still making money. That movie was just, I think I told you this 2 weeks ago. I was looking at something. I'd look at the Tuesday or Wednesday nights because I know that Wednesday, the theater near me, I think it's cheap concessions AMC on Wednesday, but in my app, it's Apple Pay Wednesday. So when I saw the Pharrell documentary a couple weeks ago, it was like $12. It was like $4 for my ticket because it was like special price movie night plus this, and then I was like, I spent $12 and then popcorn and soda, icy, and it's ridiculous. So I was looking for that the other night.
Are you on the Cinemark Movies Buyers Club thing or whatever?
No, I could.
You should. You definitely see enough movies per year.
Yeah.
And the free ticket they give you, yes. And the free ticket you pay X amount. You pay Y amount for the year.
Really?
I'm gonna try to
Musk amount.
Yes. Yay, $1 million a day a person to register to vote. That's totally illegal. I'll never get called for it. It's fine.
That's fine.
But you pay Y amount per year, and you get X amount. Yeah, every month you get. I can't even stop saying X, and you get Y amount per month. It sounds so. I'm so forcing to try to say the Y thing. Every month you get a ticket, and if you don't use it, it rolls over. So you could not go to the movie theaters for 4 months. Like, all right, you got 4 tickets. You could use one. Use them, or bring your kids, or whatever. Bring your girl. So it's and if you buy an extra ticket for someone, it's like cheaper to buy the extra ticket. And you don't have to pay the online stupid fees, which you shouldn't have to pay them anyway. Right, I think service fees and convenience fees are bullshit. You don't have to pay that. And then on top of that, you get 20% off concessions. So it's worth. We're just doing a commercial here for Cinemark. It's worth it. It's a deal. It's a good deal. We see.
I think it's so funny where I ended up like living.
You live 3 blocks away from the movie theater. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. The 2 that I would normally go to, I live like so close to them. It's like 1.2 miles each. Like it's like the same. It's almost the same distance. It's kind of nuts, And then but I like my couch a lot too. So that's it. So, but yeah. So I will say, but yeah, they've literally put out in the last couple of weeks.
You know who else likes your couch?
Godzilla -1.
E.D. Vance.
He likes the one side. I don't sit on that side. But yeah, so I'm just curious. Like, I find it funny that I wonder how much money that movie made because they put it out last week again. Godzilla -1 in theaters. It's on Netflix, and then they put -1 Color. I think it's also on Netflix, and they put Color. I think this week it's there.
For what they paid for that movie, it's got to be the most profitable Toho film of all time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just feel like they should be just start showing some of them. Well, I wonder if Toho, I don't know. I wonder if they have the Millennium ones. I wonder if they should just put out like Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Final Wars. They should just start popping those in theaters. There's enough of us Godzilla fans will just kind of watch on a Thursday night and spend $12, $15.
Here's the interesting. Do you think they could do the Godzilla -1 universe where they go through and make the other Godzilla films where the Godzilla scenes are just kind of refilming the Godzilla scenes, make them better, what you can do. But then instead of focusing on like the stupid military or the stupid scientists, you just focus on people living there. Just take out all scientists and government and military and focus on people living in that world.
Right.
Is that a thing? The -1 universe? It's the same universe. It's the same thing happens as the original traditional Toho movies. Everything happens. But instead of dealing with like them trying to take out Godzilla, which doesn't work, it's people dealing with it. And I think that's more interesting.
The best thing that you could do, I think, is if you did, and you never read the Half Century War, right? The one that James Tocco did. You did read that? So
yeah.
So that would be, I think, the way to do it, is that like basically you follow a character and you just follow him through that character through time. So that character was in, World War II, then he was in Korea, and he was in Vietnam. Like, and it's like, and you just have the same character getting older, and there's enough technology where you just cast a different person or whatever. That would be interesting if they did something like that. Or I mean, like, but see, we also don't know what.
That's interesting too.
We don't know what plan that they have at the end of the. Listen, spoilers for Godzilla -1, which everyone should have seen. If you're watching the show or you even get to this part of the show, you already probably turned it off. But at the very, I mean, listen, the character.
People are like, "How is this a news show?"
Right. Well, the character, the girl should have been obliterated, right? So then at the end, they go back, and again, when we saw the movie, I was like, did they like test audience this? It's not going to work if like the guy dies. It's too sad, right? And then the baby gets adopted by the neighbor. So they're like, okay, the guy lives, grabs the baby, then he has a telegram, then they go see, and then the adoptive mother is still alive. Is like, so, but then when she scratches her neck, she has like a tattoo thing on her neck. Like what is that? Is she, so that's like what is that? Is she turning into a lizard? Is she like, what are the effects? Are they going to do like body horror? Are they going to have like human effects? Because they don't really do that in those movies. So what was the idea of that? So let's see that. Can we follow that family in the next one?
Tom Scioli, he's doing the current Godzilla masterpieces now. Really good book. We talked about it in our reviews. But his original pitch to IDW/Toho was like, they fight Godzilla with a guy given the powers of Godzilla. If you follow Tom Scioli's Patreon, which I do, he just dumps hundreds of pages of stories that will never get made. And he sketched out a whole comic. Like he doesn't do a pitch. He's like, here's the comic I want to do. Here's 90 pages of a miniseries, really roughed out and colored. And it's like a guy, and he looks like Stegron. You know what I mean? Spider-Man's villain. Like that's kind of what he looks like. And then of course he gets bigger, and it's weird in that Tom Scioli weird way. So it's kind of like you telling me that bit, like I'd forgotten about that scene in -1.
Yeah.
And there's something they would Toho said that's dumb. We'll never do that. That's a stupid idea. Nobody can get the powers of Godzilla.
Right.
And like, okay, but he can meet the Great Gatsby. That's cool.
He can meet any public domain character. No problem.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We can have a man grow to 100 feet, but he can't look like Godzilla.
Right.
We can build a ridiculous
robot, that.
But he can't. We have aliens come in for no reason. We don't need aliens, but we have aliens. We can do anything except have a. What a funny thing! Now that I think I dig more into it, I'm like, you can't do that. That's stupid.
Yeah, but sometimes like that's what's so goofy about it, is that the limitations will be better.
That's stupid.
Right. That's stupid.
The idea of Godzilla is stupid.
Correct.
But we love it so much.
I'll take it.
It means so much to us.
Come here. Yeah. All right, we're doing it. Doing it live. All right, so we're gonna. Huh? No.
We starting over?
Yeah, we're gonna do it live. So, all right,
we're not live.
We're not live. We're gonna cut it, and we're gonna do reviews day next. Stay tuned. Reviews day. Take a little short break, and then we'll go from there.
We'll be back tomorrow.
We'll be back
or something
very soon.